All right, welcome back, everyone. As you can see, after I don't know, it's been like a day or two days maybe. I've finally reset the survivor mate, and he seems to be doing all right. He's back to doing things the way he was supposed to, which is cool. So we'll see how long it lasts. Okay, so today's agenda is to work on um, a new build area. So it's going to be just like the first one, pretty much. The only thing is, this area is probably going to be used just for breeding purposes only. So what I'm doing is I've placed my dino leash down, and then I'm just going to build around the dino leash, of course, so that everything is inside the leash and stays where it needs to be. I've already put 4 feeding troughs down in the floor and started putting some foundations around. I'm going to use my creatures here to collect the items that I need so that we can continue to build. And then we're just going to build this whole area up right here, just like this one. But this is probably going to be like a really tall tower. And there's going to be like floors, and each floor is probably going to have something different going on it. So the first floor, which will be right here on the bottom, I'm going to be breeding Rexes, I think. So I'm going to have some Rexes down here, and I'm just going to start breeding them for the purposes of preparing for the boss battles. So yeah, we're going to be doing that. And since we've tamed up some Rexes already, we've already, got half of the thing finished. We just got to build and then get them started with the egg laying. So gotta go ahead and gather materials and work on that. Okay, don't know what's going on with the robot, but I assigned him to do the jobs down below with the meats, but he decided to come up here and do berry collecting. I don't know why. He's not even assigned to do berries anymore. I just only assigned him the meat projects. But he's still coming up here and like now he's doing the berries. This thing is so ridiculous. Like, I assigned it to do the jobs downstairs, it comes upstairs. I assign it to do the job upstairs, it just runs in circles. Like, Jesus Christ, man. I don't know what's going on with this thing. It's a crazy machine. Alright, and this is our first time putting our beaver to use. So if you're unfamiliar, the beaver does exactly what the other creatures do when it comes to harvesting, except it just does it with trees. So you just get close to a tree, and beaver should harvest. Maybe I have to be closer. Oh, there we go. Okay, make sure you're not doing your fast fight with the rhino so that you don't knock the trees over. Um, Gotta let the beaver collect the trees. So we're just going around doing that. We already collected a bunch of stone with the Dodicarus, and now I'm just using the beaver for wood. Doing this like in a forest would be a good idea, because I mean there's like trees everywhere. It'll be easier to like collect a lot of wood quicker. But yeah, this is what the beaver does. Here we go. Excuse the fog, but I now have all these creatures loaded up with a bunch of stuff. That actually looks pretty cool. Look at that. Dun, 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 dun. This is definitely going to be a thumbnail. Amazing. Anyway, got the beaver loaded up with a bunch of wood. Some thatch on there too. The Dodicarus, as soon as the game stops. There we go. Okay, Dodicarus filled up with tons of stone, and the mammoth covering us with the thatch, and also a little bit of wood itself. So, got plenty of building materials, and gonna go ahead and get started crafting and building the structures that we need to build up this little second part of our base here. And I am going to connect the two from right here. this wall right here I'm going to take down. It's just going to be a big open spot it's going to be like a hallway, you know, connecting into this one. So yeah, going to begin the build. Well, I built a lot of the, well, I was building a lot of the foundation pieces, as you can see on my hotbar, but then I got distracted because there's been like gold supply drops everywhere, so I'm just flying around, looting these supply drops, and they just keep showing up. Dude has like a million Brontos, it's crazy. Came back to base to drop off some of the stuff I got from the supply drops, and Survivor Mate is just standing in front of the refrigerators. I don't know what this guy is doing anymore. Like, seriously. It's just all over the place now. And it's getting stuck on everything. It's pretty annoying. But we knew this would happen. Dude, I am never going to get this building done. Like, every time I come back to base and I'm like, alright, let's get started with the building. I look up and there's another gold supply drop. Oh man, it's probably happened like 3 times already. I've like come back to base and then I'm just like, oh nope, gotta go for that. But I don't know. At some point I gotta stop and just like start building because otherwise we're never gonna get this done. But I mean, at the same time, I am getting building structure pieces out of the drops as well. So pretty acceptable, I think. It's a pretty good reason to continue looting. But I mean, if you just look at all the stuff we've gotten, the only thing I've crafted for the building so far is the stone foundation pieces. So I've crafted this and this. Everything else here on this creature's inventory we got from supply drops. So like we got a water tank, we got some ceiling pieces, wall pieces, some gateways, the behemoth gate, you know, got some doors. These are valuable things. I mean, these are parts of the build that we didn't even have to craft, so I think that's pretty awesome. It's a good reason to always check drops. Okay, so slightly annoying situation here, but I had a lot of foundation pieces placed already, probably like already halfway done, like placing the flooring, and then I get to like over here and it would not allow me to place any foundation pieces. I don't know why. I guess it's because it's going up to a hill, but I mean, like, we're stopped like just before the hill, but still it wouldn't allow me to place foundation pieces here or anywhere like from here to like here, which is kind of annoying because it just means like we would have had to cut out a small piece of our build, which is not that much, but to me, like, I want the full circle because I mean, the trop is going to extend this far, and I want to be able to make use of all the space that I could possibly use. So, since we had that issue, I'm going to move the leash over a little bit more this way to get away from that, and then we'll build up again. So, just gotta make a small adjustment. Okay, so this is what I mean. As you can see, like, it allows me to place a piece there, but like certain parts over here, you can't place anything because I guess it's so close to the hill. But my thing is, I want to be able to utilize the entire space, and if I can't do that, then you know that just means I need to make adjustments. So see, we can place here, we can place going this way apparently, but like not this. So yeah, I'm gonna just move the leash over some more. Okay, looks like we've resolved our problem. I'm just going around checking now. So I don't want to get to a point where I'm like, I've almost completely built the foundation again and then I have to pick everything up and move. So I'm just going around making sure that I am able to place the pieces wherever I'd want to place them. Yeah, we're good here. So it was like right here where you couldn't place things. So I moved the leash, and now we're good. All right? What was that? I just saw a red piece. See, like this. That could be a slight problem. Let me see. If I was building and it's like this. No, I don't think it's going to be an issue. I just have to really watch what I'm doing, I guess. But it should be fine. Looks like it's alright. Yeah, it's good. Okay, so as you can see, I had to move the leash a lot more. I was still having some issues on the side over here. So we moved it all the way to over here now. It's going to connect perfectly with this side of the base. I'm going to remove this wall, and there's going to be an opening between the two. And I'm building this one with a combination of triangle and square foundation pieces. This one over here we built a little different. As you can see, it's not like a perfect circle. It's got like edges and things like that. But this one is like a perfect circle, or it's going to be once I'm finished. And I just wanted to make sure I'm utilizing like the entire leash space as much as I could. So I'm just doing a combination of triangles and squares to be able to make this circle a complete circle. Okay. And when I first started building, I did not even know how to like make this a nice looking circle, which is why we have that one. But I remembered one of my favorite YouTubers who also plays Ark. He himself also built like a tower type base on the island. So I was like, let me go watch how he built his, and then like I can get an idea on how to make it more of a perfect circle. And so I went and rewatched his video like when he was building his base, and he was just like placing triangles, and then at a certain point would place a square, which is kind of what I'm doing now, and trying to just make it more perfect and make more use of all the space that we possibly can. Okay, progress update. Here's the outline. It took so long to get this thing properly lined up with the imperfect circle, I will say. So this one that was like not a perfect circle, I was basically trying to line it up with the one that we have done perfectly, and it was so ridiculously difficult. I had to do so many different variations, and this took a couple of hours just to get things to line up like in the best way possible. I used some small quarter foundation pieces in between the two, and there's still like a little bitty, like the tiniest little gap right here, because it's not going to perfectly line up. Obviously you're not going to be able to like perfectly line up a perfect circle with an imperfect circle, but I mean that's like a small little flaw, I think. So, and this was like the best way that I can get them to align, so we're just gonna have to stick with it. I think once we just like get this thing built up and everything, and we're like going back and forth between the two, I don't even think we'll notice like that tiny little crack there. Maybe I'll put something over it to kind of block it or whatever, but yeah, this is it. Now just gotta fill it in. Okay, so here's another issue. As we've gotten to the end, there's a small split, like a small gap here as well, between these two foundation pieces, which may not seem like a huge deal, but that means as we continue building on, there's going to be a split going all the way into the base. So there's going to be like a split in the floor all the way in, because that's not perfectly aligned. So I'm going to have to try and like, I don't know, mess around with this stuff a little bit more to figure out how I can get this to perfect, well, almost nearly perfectly aligned. It's pretty close, but I want it to be even closer. I know there's a way, I'm sure there's a way I can figure it out, so I'm gonna just try and get it like as close as possible. It's probably gonna take me a little while longer. Just gonna show the way I'm attempting to line this up just in case anyone else has an issue and they're trying to recreate this build. So what I'm doing right now is I'm using some fence foundation pieces to kind of line up where I need to be. So I've got one coming off of this square right there. So that lets me know that this is like the top edge of like where the square foundations are. And then one coming off of this triangle. So this is like the top edge of the triangle foundation and like the bottom of the triangle foundation. So I'm trying to like use these foundation pieces to like line up the one square piece that I'm trying to like use as the piece to align the two perfect and imperfect circles. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just like this, trying to line it up. So like the bottom of this square needs to touch like the top of that foundation piece because that would be the bottom of the triangle piece. So it needs to be something like that. Well, no, not fully on there because then we'd still have that gap. So I need to move it over a little bit. So like this maybe. Something like this, I guess. And then it needs to still align with those other pieces up there. So we gotta like turn it. So something like that maybe. I feel like this might still be too close. Maybe we can move over to the left a little bit. Oh wait. I'm ruining it. God dang it. This is tough. Trying to like align these imperfections is so annoying. But for me, this is like, I will not like allow this to be a thing in my base. I don't know what it is, but like there's no way I'm just gonna build and like have a giant split running through the middle of my floor and just like ignore that. I just can't ignore it. So trying my best here. I've already done this wrong, I think. I think I gotta, I don't know, there's no way that's right. That can't be right. Let's see. I don't think there's any way that's correct. Yeah, it's still too close. I should have moved over to the left a little bit. I knew it. It's still too close, because then we're still going to have a split. Okay, I have to move it over a little bit. Anyway, you get the idea. This is what I'm doing. It's going to take me some time, obviously. But we're going to get it. I'm not going to quit till I get it. Okay, so it is nearly perfect. This is as close as I've gotten to like not having the gap there. There's still like a slight little split in between the foundations. As you can see, there's like a tiny little space here. and a tiny little space here. You know, usually there would be like absolutely no space like this. This is like two foundation pieces that have no space. Same here, same here. There's like no space in between. So I think the way I can correct this even more is just by like trying to line up the other foundation pieces with this one that I just placed. So just gonna do that one like that, and just like keep doing this like around the base a little bit to eventually like get this to a place to where it's almost invisible. So gonna keep trying to do that. See, like as you keep moving it, it's gonna become like less and less visible, I think. Do I have wall pieces? We'll really know when we start to put like the wall pieces, like, because once we start to build the wall, if there's any imperfections in the base of the structure, the walls are definitely going to reflect, because once you start to build the walls, the pieces of the walls are like not going to be touching like this. If you have any like slight cracks or anything in there, there's going to be like a small split, and you'll be able to see like outside in between the walls, which is what we don't want. So I'm going to try and use like wall pieces. See, like that, you'll be able to see like outside, and like if you were outside, you'd be able to see inside the base. So don't want anything like that. So I'm just going to keep like moving these pieces around a little bit until I get them like close enough to where it's almost not even noticeable. So I'm going to keep messing around with this stuff quick. Let's hide the leash circle for a second, because I just want to show that I figured out how I'm going to like cover this little gap that's over here. And basically, I'm just going to hide it with walls, wall pieces. Where's the other leash? Is that it? There we go. Hide that. Okay, so I'm basically going to cover this little gap over here with wall pieces. So, you know, we have this little gap right here that we couldn't like align, which is fine. But basically, I'm just going to I'm going to have a wall right here like this. So it's still going to line up, and it's going to look just fine, because I'm going to take this whole wall down. This is going to be like the opening to this space. And then there's going to be a wall here that just like is like a hallway kind of thing. So it's going to like be like an opening. Like that whole wall is going to be gone. There's going to be like an opening here. And these little wall pieces are going to be like covering that gap back there. So we won't even realize it's there, because it'll technically be like on the outside. And now I'm just trying to figure out how to like cover this one over here where like the split was. Because as you can see, there's still like a gap between the walls a little bit. So I'm trying to figure that part out. So many difficulties with this, trying to like match up these two structures. I wish I had like known or remembered that video beforehand when I first built this one. So this one would have been more perfect, and it would have been easier to align the two. But these are the struggles, and we're trying to fix them. I actually just might leave this like this. Like, I'm not too concerned about there being like a crack in the wall, like against this piece of the first structure, because like with that being like that, it's still like you can't see outside, because you, even if you look through there, you just see the other wall pieces of this structure of the first circle. And then you go over here, and like if you were on the outside looking in, I mean, you'd be able to see something, but not much, I don't think. And I don't really have this is just a regular wall. I don't really have like any other way of covering this up, but I am trying to make it work. Uh, See, like if I was to have like a gap there, that'd be more obvious. But like this, I think is a little less obvious. You could put a wall piece through here apparently, but nah, that just looks strange. I think I'll just do like this. That's not gonna work. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. Pick up the quarter wall. It's allowing me to place a wall piece right here, like cutting through this other wall and these other foundation pieces because I still have that fence foundation under there. I didn't remove it. So it looks like it'll let me like, can we build off of this? No, we can't. But we could probably, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll figure it out though. But there's like almost no way to cover this thing. But I am going to figure it out. And so I figured it out. The answer was a pillar. I placed a pillar right there in that little space. And check it out. No more crack. No more split between the walls. Oh yeah. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put pillars there. But I think I have to place the small quarter wall before the pillar when I'm like building the wall up, because I'm going to need to place a wall piece right there. Let's see if that works real quick, because we may have found a fix, or we may not have. So if I place that, and then let's do, yep, okay, well, that is it. We fixed it. We've found a way to cover up that and cover up the little split in between the walls and the foundations. So I'm really amazed and satisfied with that. So this took me hours to figure out, but getting this aligned was super awesome. And now all we have to do is fill the rest in. But I'm going to need a lot more materials because I have run out just making all these foundation pieces. So I'm going to have to get a lot more stone, wood, thatch, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll get back to it. And also we're going to have like some ceiling pieces for the flooring over here instead of foundation pieces, because like there's a dip in the ground here, as well as with that new foundation piece that we placed right there, it's lower than this one. So we're going to have a ceiling piece like as the floor covering that. So we'll have to do a lot of cover-ups, but it's fine. It's all going to look good in the end. You won't even know it's there. Oh my God, folks. Okay, so I started to realize as I'm filling this whole thing in, my alignments are still off. Like, I've had this issue so many times, it's becoming ridiculous. I don't know where I went wrong. Well, actually, I do know where I went wrong. The thing is, while you're doing this, like when you're first laying the outlines of the circle, you should definitely be counting what you're placing. Because I found that the issue is I have, the way I was doing it, the pattern would be, like looking at these, the pattern would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 square pieces. Okay, it starts to get foggy as soon as I'm trying to demonstrate something. So it's 5 square pieces, right? So, well, there was one right there, but I removed it. Let me just go over here where it's already done and more visible somewhat till I just changed it. Okay. I'm going to put this back how I just had it so I can show you what the issue is. What did I just have? I had squares here. Okay. So the pattern is like goes my annoying neighbor. Anyway, the pattern is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 triangles. So 5 squares, 11 triangles, and then there should have been 5 squares here, 11 triangles, and then just going on and so forth until it completes the whole circle. So it should be 5, 11, 5, 11, 5, 11, and then it comes back around. The issue that I found is we have 5 squares here, 11 triangles, 4 squares here, 1, 2, 3, 4 squares here, and there were like 13 triangles. So the pattern was thrown off like around here, and then I just kept building. I didn't realize. So if you're trying to make a circle, you should definitely be counting what you're using. So because I did 4 squares here and 13 triangles, the rest of the circle was just thrown off. So it was good here in the beginning, and then everything else is like wrong. So I'm gonna have to do a lot of picking pieces up and replacing them to fix this pattern. So that's super annoying. It's always like when you get farther into the build, you're like, God damn it, I made another mistake somewhere. And now we have to go like super far back. It's a huge setback. Can't even build in peace. I don't even know where this thing came from. It was literally just not there like 2 minutes ago. It just showed up. Anyway, I'm going to try and ignore it for as long as I possibly can. So far, here's how the fix is coming. It's looking alright. I'm down to like the last section here. So hopefully this turns out right. Okay, so now that I've lined these all up, it did fix the issue of the little gap that we had like right there. There's no longer a gap, as you can see. So looks like we're good. The whole thing's complete now. Well, the outline of the whole thing is complete now. I just have to go around and fill it all in. So yeah. So it's crazy because, I mean, originally I had believed that like the split in the foundation pieces was due to like us trying to line up this circle with the previous circle, which is like not really a perfect circle. But in reality, the split in the foundation just came from me not having like a proper pattern on the circle build. So me having that little mess up here is what threw off everything else, and I didn't even know it. So I had to go through and make sure I counted everything. So now everything is good. Everything is perfectly lined up, pretty much. That side over here still has that little like random gap, but I mean I can't really fill that with anything. There's like no shape that you can like, or building piece that you can like put right there. It's like a weird shape. So I mean that one's just going to be covered up by a wall anyway, so we're not even gonna remember that that's there. And the rest of this is fine. Everything else is good. So the build is 5 by 11. So it's 5 squares, 11 triangles all the way around. 11 triangles, 5 squares, 11 triangles, 5 squares, 11 triangles, and so on and so on. So yeah, if you want to recreate this, this is what it looks like. Just gonna fill it all in now. This guy's starting a boss battle from down here. It's pretty cool. Bye bye, neighbor. Good luck on your battle. Maybe you can move away sometime. That'd be nice. Okay, so the circle is complete. I am going to have to correct some things because the terrain is not flat right here in this spot. dips a little bit. This is like a bit of a hill. So I'm gonna have to put ceiling pieces over a lot of these foundations to make it even with the rest of the floor. So we'll go around and like place ceiling pieces like so wherever we need to along the base so that it all is aligned at this level. And then it's just going to look like one flat thing. But this is it. And I've got the dino leash right here. I put a metal ceiling piece over it so I know where it's at. And that's how we'll always know where the leash is if we need to move it or disable it or whatever. And so this is going to be it. I'm going to make it flat. Then we're going to build it up with some like large walls. And going to move some creatures in here, start the breeding process. Okay, so I've almost completed the ceiling pieces that I've been placing. As you can see, they're pretty much just following the, well, not pretty much, they are following the exact same pattern as the foundations that we placed. Now that it's all leveled, it's going to be leveled in the end. You're pretty much not even going to be able to tell that they're ceiling pieces, but yeah, they're ceiling pieces. There's the squares, and then they're going into the triangles, and then blah blah blah. But anyway, you are going to have some gaps if you recreate this like this, gaps between the ceiling and the foundation pieces. But those are easy fixes, as you can see. All you do is just put wall pieces in between them. So I've been doing that. I gotta go get more materials because I've run out of stone and finish the rest of this right here. But as far as the spaces in between the foundation and the ceiling pieces, you would just place walls. For the small spaces, you would just use quarter wall pieces like that. And then as you get into the larger areas, of course, you're going to need like a regular wall piece. And then even further down, like down here, I had to use a regular wall piece and then like 2/4 foundation pieces, and then for it to reach the ceiling here. So yeah, it's really simple to just cover all that up. And when we're done, it's just going to look like just one big tower. And you won't even be able to tell that it's just all these different parts. It'll just look nice and clean. And it'll be very, very nice. All right, so we have now completed the base of this structure, finally. Look at it, it's beautiful. And now we are going to go around and place wall pieces. And of course, I'm going to be using the stone large wall, so I don't have to make so many like single wall pieces. Using the large wall is just an easier way because it's about 4 walls high. So I'm just going to go around the structure, placing them like this. And I'm not really sure how tall I'm going to make this first area just yet. I think I'm just going to make it tall enough to fit like the gigas and cartridges in here. So I'm going to have to make it like 8 walls high, which means I'll have to stack 2 of these. And yeah, the next floor will be for the Rexes, which are like the next tallest thing. And that's where I'll be breeding those guys. Okay, I am very excited because I finally figured out how to cover that up, and it's awesome. So basically, same thing I'm doing on this side pretty much, using the quarter wall piece. What I did was, I'll show real quick, because I had to mess around with this a lot just to get it to work. But basically, what I did was I had to remove all the wall pieces behind these vaults, and then like on the side of the vaults. And once I did that, it allowed me to place wall pieces here, which now it won't because I'll have to remove that. I had to remove these first though. I was kind of nervous about removing these because I thought that my vaults would like the quarter ceiling pieces holding my vault would break, or it would be removed, and the vault would be destroyed or picked up, and I'd have to like pick up all the items, which would have been very annoying. But it didn't happen, so I was excited. And now I was able to place walls like this. Um, and with that, it just left a small little space in between those. And then I'm able to go through and fill that up with the quarter wall pieces. So, and then it's like not even noticeable from the inside where the vault is. Not really. I do have to put that wall piece back. Alright, we'll have to go outside for that, but it just looks like this. Like, it kind of just looks like the vault and like the fridge right here is like sitting on a corner. But yeah, I was so excited about that. I'm like, oh my god, finally. And as you can see, I put a gate here, behemoth gate. This will be like a back way entrance and exit, because our first gate is over there. And this will be a way out on this side. And now it's all fully coming together. So I'm super liking this. I'm loving the way it's turning out. Alright, so latest issue has been the behemoth gateway. Because I wanted to set it up to where I can still build over it once I've placed it, which we did have it placed before, but the way I had it placed, it was like placed on this entire like square section here. We have the 5 squares going across. So I wasn't able to like place walls over it like that because there was no lower wall underneath it. So what I did was I placed one wall on the end of where the square foundations are, and then I like cut out a triangle piece. So now the door is like kind of on a corner a little bit, so I have to angle it to make it fit properly in with the walls. And I had to also put ceiling pieces up here before placing the gate, because once you place the gate, you can't place anything through the gate, but the gate can go through other structures, like that. See, like the gate is showing green because it'll allow me to place it through a wall, which doesn't make any sense to me, but the gateways can go through walls and other things. But like once I place the gate, I can't place nothing else like on like near the gate, because nothing else goes through the gate. Only the gate goes through things. So I had to do it to where I place the ceiling pieces before the gate, so that way when I want to like start building the second floor, we've already got like our starting ceiling pieces here, and we don't get like to this spot and like we can't place anything. Oh my god, look at this thing trying to wander into my base. But yeah, this is what it's looking like so far. Alright, ta-da, there it is, gateway placed. So again, it's on a corner, so you do have to angle it a little bit. There is going to be a little bit of foundation sticking out. It's okay. The ceiling pieces up there are covering what would have been like a hole in the structures, but looks great now. And then we can just start adding on to those ceiling pieces whenever we're ready to make a second floor or whatever. Alright, so I'm starting to fill in the ceiling pieces. As you can see, I've added a ramp here. I used stone roof pieces, just like that, going straight down. Started on the second triangle second triangle pattern on the left. As you can see, like when you first come out here, the first triangle pattern is here, and there's the squares, and then there's the triangles again here. and I put the ceiling pieces up first, and then I placed the stone roof pieces going down. This was a little bit tricky because like I had to figure out how to make it go down and then turn this way. So basically, when I got here to the first triangle pattern, I had to put some triangle roof pieces, almost forming like a smaller triangle, and then it was able to angle down. So this is where I'll walk up larger creatures, walk them up and down, because this is just the first floor, like I said, and then we'll be able to like walk something up the ramp if we need to, up to the second floor like this. Alright, gonna test the ramp real quick to just make sure that it is wide enough for one of these massive giants. Okay, works well enough. Oof, gotta play around a little bit on the way back down if you don't want to drop your creature and take fall damage, of course. But it's not that much fall damage, so it'd be fine. Still have plenty of room. Okay, so I decided to extend the ramp to 4 spaces just to make it a bit more comfortable for when I'm walking the creatures up and down. So hopefully that makes a slight difference. Now, I had to change it up a little bit just to get it to work. Playing around with all these building shapes, I'm like so unfamiliar with this stuff. I've said earlier in one of my like early videos that I usually only build like square huts on Ark. This is the first time I've ever built something that like isn't a square shack. On my unofficial server, I just live in a giant metal box that I made, and I've got like everything I need in that giant metal box. But this, I wanted to make it different because I'm like, I'm making content with this, so might as well make it something beautiful, So doing this a bit different, and usually everything's easy when you're just building everything out of squares. It's very simple, but when you're building with like other pieces, like you're making the triangles try to match up with the squares and things like that, in these like rectangular ceiling pieces, um, it's a little difficult to like figure out how to get the shapes to come together, but I'm figuring it out slowly as I go, and watch the video for assistance. I think something's wrong. Now it's coming too far out. Something's wrong. Yeah, something's wrong. I gotta fix that. Now it's coming too far out. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or... I mean, I guess it makes sense. Okay, I'm probably not going to make this 4 spaces then because it seems to have extended it a little bit, like into the doorway, which I don't want. So yeah, I don't like that. So never mind. I'll probably just change this back. But anyway, as I was saying, this video has taken me like so many days. It's probably been like 5 or 6 days. Definitely about a week to just make this video because like building out of all these different shapes is definitely like confusing and new to me. So if you're watching the video and you're unfamiliar with the builds and how to use different building pieces on the game, hopefully you learn something from this because it's a learning experience for me. Boom, figured it out. It still extends a little bit past where I had it before. As you can see, it's now like kind of cutting into like the hallway here, but it's all right. That's fine. I don't mind. All right, so the structure is almost done. I have run out of materials once again, so I'm going to go out and collect more stone and wood. But just wanted to show where it's at so far. And this is what it looks like. There's the two of them together. This structure is pretty solid. And it's going to look very good as soon as we finish. Okay, so here it is, guys. And we finished just in time, too, because I've got to get up and get ready in about 15 minutes. But, yeah, here it is. We've got our structure built. This video took me a week. This is a 1 week project finally complete. So I'm super happy for that. If you're watching and you enjoyed this video, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for supporting. Because this right here was quite the task. Like, I'm so done. Anyway, here's what it looks like. You know, we'll fly out the door, of course, come in, maybe walk something in if we need to. The gate is going through wall pieces, so there is like a little bit of wall sticking out on the edges of like the open gate, but that is okay. I mean, it's almost not even noticeable. And here's what it looks like on the inside. It's just one giant circle. So we'll have some creatures in here, maybe laying eggs or, you know, breeding. We'll have some egg incubators in here, blah, blah, blah. Things we need to hatch babies and all that. Feeding troughs will be right here, as close to the center as possible, near the dino leash, as well as like a generator. And we've got our ramp here, if we want to go up, which we don't have the second floor built yet, so I just roofed it off anyway. But once we start expanding it and we start building up more, we'll have a second floor up there and we'll just open that up. But yeah, I'm just going to start moving some creatures in here eventually, and y'all will see that as time goes on. So again, thank you for watching the video. Really appreciate the support, and make sure you leave a like. Have a good one.